One, two, three. Hello, and welcome to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
I'm afraid the accommodations are hardly first class.
I mean, they're actually so bad that Andre's asleep over there. But anyway, I am your host, Davin. Well, no, I should say, that's not my name at all. My name is Shauna, the Skell Devil. And,
You should feel honored.
but if you don't, I also have a co-host.
Well, who?
Chandre, the He Devil.
That's right.
So beautiful, yet so strong.
I always thought I was.
He is that.
Not to flash forward to another line, but I always thought I was pretty cute. I assume you have that one squirreled away for later.
Well, I always did think I was kind of cute.
There you
nice
go.
of you to mention it.
Yeah, I love me some punny Wolverine. It's like right around the time Freddy Krueger got funny around part 4. Sort of in part 3, but part 4 is when he got real funny. Certainly, it's kind of went downhill, but I still sort of enjoy it in a weird way. I don't know why. So anyway, hey, welcome to the show. My name is Andre Mayette. On both for today's purposes, I am Chandre, the He Devil.
Shauna, the Skell Devil. We had a Shauna off.
We sure did.
Tell us.
Yes, please do. Vote now.
And also tell us who had the nicest hat.
Text nicest hat to 067. Remember you see that TV shows when you have to text in your vote?
Do you ever text any? Well, no. Texting? You mean dial in?
Well, no, not like call in. Like
you're like in text in the age of texting?
Yeah, like they would have you text in your vote. It'd be like, a number it's like 0287 or something.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Text in, it's like I think one of my first
federally like that. That would be great.
Well, even I always wonder that, like, why can't they just make every vote for amongst everybody in the country? Why can't they just send a text or email that has all the things you need to vote? And you just click yes or no on everything and go through. I mean, I guess it's hackable, but I mean, it feels like it's probably better than the system they have now. There's a bunch of corrupt people just serving their own ends. But anyway, we don't need to make this political because we tend to head that way pretty quickly. But speaking of voting in things, do you remember way back in the day in the 80s? Do you remember the 80s, Davin?
Oh, I do.
And it might have been before that, but I'm pretty sure it's the 80s. When Jason Todd was Robin. Were you around then? The second Robin, Jason Todd? Why are you staring at me blankly?
I just, that's not a good reference for me. I don't know.
You know who Jason Todd Robin is? You really don't know. Your blind spot for DC is that big. You have no idea who Jason Todd is?
My DC world pretty much ends at Adam West.
Wow.
And Lois and Clark.
Wow. Okay.
And I read Kingdom Come.
Really? Why do you hate DC so much?
It just never appealed to me, so I didn't force it.
Anywho,
it's not a big thing. I like the Michael Keaton Batman.
Well, okay, but even like the video. Okay, anyway, so Jason Todd was the second.
I play the video games.
Okay, so Arkham Knight isn't Jason Todd the Arkham Knight?
Oh, I don't play new video games.
Oh,
I'm old.
So, ow! My cat bit me. What are you doing?
I hope your story works without me getting any of your references.
Not really. I mean, I'm sure the fans will. But back in the 80s, when Jason Todd was the second Robin, so Tim Drake went on to, Dick Grayson went on to become Nightwing, and then Batman had a bit of a hole in his lineup for a Robin, and then he came across this sort of young delinquent that was stealing the hubcaps off the Batmobile, and then ended up bringing him into the fold and making him Robin. But he was kind of like a jerk Robin. Like he was kind of like Damian is now, but like back before, like not being the son of Batman, just sort of being like petulant and hot-tempered, and even sort of vaguely alluded to the fact he killed somebody. Like there was a guy that he was chasing that fell off a roof, and Batman asked if he was pushed or he fell, and Robin said he fell, but there's always sort of an underlying thing that it wasn't true. So anyway, they had a storyline that Jim Starlin wrote called "Death in the Family" when the Joker beat him with a crowbar and then blew him up in a shack. And then the fans could vote in to see if they wanted Jason Todd to live or die, because people really didn't like him. So the fans would call in, and depending on what they wanted, that would have changed what would have happened in the last episode of the series. And they like unanimously vote, not unanimous, but it was quite high, voted for Jason Todd to die because he was not very liked as a Robin. But I really dig that in DC, sometimes they'll break the fourth wall and acknowledge they're in a comic book. And I really think it'd be funny if Jason Todd, because he came back and now he's the Red Hood, because, in homage or to stick the finger to the eye of the Joker who killed him the first time by taking one of his old mantles. But, I think it'd be interesting if you found out that you're in a comic book and that you're so disliked that millions of people called in. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people probably called in to vote your death. Like, I think that's a very interesting idea, I think it could be explained somewhere. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Batman. We're not here to talk about Jason Todd or explain to Davin everything that's happened in Batman comics from 1952 all the way up to present day.
In my day, Robin was a nice boy.
Was he?
Nice. Burt Ward.
He wore little tights.
A fine young man.
He apparently had to take pills to shrink his penis for. Is that what you want? Is that the Robin you enjoy? Is that the one?
You wonder why I don't like DC. Anyway.
Hey, I mean, the guy that played Burt Ward is the one who said that. I mean, if anyone's anything to gain by trying to tell people his penis is so big that they wanted to make it look smaller in his tights for TV, it'd be Burt Ward. So I don't necessarily think it's the most trustworthy of narrators in this situation. But I digress. All right. Whoa, what's going on here? Do we have some lingering plot threads about me that need to be followed up with?
No, man. What you been up to?
Nothing. Did we do this segment before? This seems new and scary to me.
No, I throw catching ups in there. Every now and then we catch up with somebody.
It seems a lot like the What's Digging at Andre or the What's Bothering Andre segment. Not much. Busy. Really, really busy. I've been busy. Super busy. Crazy busy.
You on the spot.
I'm in a play that's coming up.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You have an interesting life. Tell the people.
Do I? I had a bunch of wrestling this past weekend. I had a bunch of wrestling this past weekend. I have the play coming up next week, which is all next week. I'm building a railing for my deck that insurance is requiring me to build because it's more than 2 feet off the ground, which is stupid because it's like 28 inches off the ground. It's not that much, but it's cheaper to build a railing than to redo the whole goddamn deck. And I got a bunch of wood delivered that I've been trying to put away, but it's been raining straight since it arrived, so I have yet to be able to put it away.
Raining all right.
I know, it sucks.
Well, there you go.
One thing that's cool is I got this. Came in the mail today. The Werner Herzog collection.
Oh, Werner Herzog.
It's all his documentaries, or a good chunk of them.
His cameo in the Boondocks is hilarious.
He makes a lot of cameos. I mean, he's in The Mandalorian. He's in Jack Reacher movie. He was on Rick and Morty in a cameo in an episode, which is pretty funny. He's a very interesting dude. Apparently, he saved Joaquin Phoenix from a car wreck one time.
That's random.
Yeah, like we look it up. Joaquin Phoenix was in some car wreck, and the car was upside down. And he was like stunned and was trying to light a cigarette when he was still in the car. And then this guy came over and told him not to and helped pull him out of the car and then walked away. And apparently the accident was in the Hollywood Hills because there's gas everywhere. Like, you shouldn't smoke, but he had a head injury, so he wasn't really all there with it. And apparently later he found out that it was Werner Herzog who just lived around the corner that like came out and like how surreal would that
goes
be?
Back inside. It's like, okay, bye.
Yeah, literally he didn't even he didn't stay or anything. He just helped him out, make sure he was okay, and then just went back to his house. Like, he didn't want any like lawyer or anything. He was just happy to help.
So, I was watching a Star Trek episode.
Yeah, that's right. He's like, I'm learning about the intricacies of the human condition through your car accident. Werner Herzog's the man. But anyway. We're taking all the stops for the season finale, season 2.
Well, this is season finale. We've done this before too. You just have a bad memory.
I do.
We've rewind like it's 92 before.
I feel like we don't always do it at the top of the show, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because remember we talked about, you called me fancy schmancy because I had a dedicated rewinder system.
Oh, yes, that is true.
Yeah.
You were
Hoity-toity, I believe.
You were hoity-toity and fancy schmancy. Both.
Well, la-dee-da, Mr. Rewind.
Hoity-schmancy, I will call
Why
it.
don't you rewind something and watch something at the same time, you fancy bastard?
Ooh, look at you over there, you fancy rewind
you.
device. I'm over here
On
rewinding
your
it with a
big zenith.
rewinding it with a pencil.
Oh shit! All right, even zeniths were old by 92. So rewind like it's 92. I want to rewind to an episode for a second.
The previous episode of our show.
Yeah, well, funny how they tend to be the same thing.
That is true.
The Beast episode,
Mm-hmm.
Beauty and the Beast,
Mm-hmm.
was actually, and this was a friend of the show, Julia Leewald's idea, is based on Charlie Chaplin's 1931 film, City Lights.
Yeah, I'm ahead of you.
Yeah. Yep. She's like, let's do one about that. And they're like, yeah. And they just ran with it, apparently.
Did the Leewalds, did you ask them about that?
No, that's in this lovely tome above my head here that everyone should go buy.
It's a
The
classic
making of the animated series.
It is a classic Charlie Chaplin movie.
There you go.
If you mention a classic one, it's usually City Lights or The Great Dictator.
And it being the season finale and all, I thought I would rewind to the very beginning.
Maybe we should do, and we could do this at the end of the episode, but maybe we should do a season recap, not a whole recap, but just how you felt overall about the season.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We didn't do that for season 1. But what I was going to say, that the kind of sub-theme that I think separates us from other podcasts, because I listen to a lot of podcasts. Mm-hmm. Different ones, history, science, and
I think the fact we're the handsomest, probably. I mean,
well, we are the handsomest, and we have fine beards. And
they are fine. Although mine looks better when I have something black underneath it. When I have the light color on, it looks thinner. I don't like it. Anyway, go ahead.
But what I've noticed is most people that do podcasts kind of know each other quite well before the podcast began. And what our viewers got to see is kind of a friendship form in real time. And I think that's fair in podcasts. Well, I think it's happened accidentally. But
no, I think so.
Literally, like the audience gets to see most of our conversations.
That is true.
So it's like, there you have it, people. That's how you do it. That's how you make friends. You just
invite them on a multi-season 100-episode podcast.
Yep. And if they say no, you never talk to them again.
That's right. They're out of your life for good.
Mm-hmm. Simple. I do things simply.
I like it.
That was my.
It's a rather elaborate way to make friends, but it certainly works.
It worked. Anyway. So
that's true.
We are actually here to review an episode, which is season 2, episode 13, Reunion Part 2, the re-reunioning.
The reunion. I like that.
Yes.
The re-reunioning.
Well,
yes, indeed we did. However, I almost, because I am bad at planning and it's been insane. Like these past weeks have been insane. Didn't get a chance to watch the episode. I did watch the episode, but normally I watch it the morning of today. For some reason, I forgot because I got up. I didn't get much sleep last night and didn't watch it this morning. And then ran. If it wasn't for the fact it was raining today, I would have certainly would have taken precedence over anything else. But I was going to go do chores I do outside, but I did get a chance to watch it, and it was a fun little episode.
Yeah, written by Michael Edens, one of the brothers.
He wrote a lot
Edens.
this season.
Well, he and his brother Mark Edens.
Good old Mark Edens, as I'm sure he's called by his friends and family.
Well, most likely. Yeah. If not, probably from now on.
Previously on X-Men.
Previously on X-Men, as Andre knows, very, very important part of the show.
It isn't. Well, it's actually probably relevant today.
Brace yourselves, people. We're going in.
Is that it? That tells you nothing. Literally nothing. Like
they were going in. and they had to brace themselves. That's a lot of information, actually.
That's true. You see, that is the very salient point that we needed to be reminded of for this episode to make it all clear and remind us all about the insanity of the previous episode.
So as you can tell from that clip, listeners, the X-Men had to go in.
They did.
That's where we
left. And they went in, and then they came out. So end of episode. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a great season, and we'll see you in season 3.
I believe it picks up where they land, and Wolverine just mocks his landing.
Well, he mocks Charles's landing specifically. But so we see Professor X, Magneto, Jean Grey, and Morph are still chained up in Miss Sinister's lab. They meanwhile Charles is having a bit of a crisis as they're getting chained up because he summoned the X-Men there to their doom or potential doom because he was being mind controlled by Sauron in the last episode. I do think we missed one point last episode, which I thought about after the episode ended. But when the X-Men that are in the Savage Land currently, Magneto, when they reunite with Jean Grey and all them, and then Kazar attacks, he does escape. I know he's involved with that attack first, but then when it's revealed that it was a trap, he gets out a window and falls into a waterfall and escapes, because that's important for this episode.
Oh yeah, we did skip over that.
I think we did. So because I was thinking, I don't think I really followed up on what happened to him. See, wrestling got captured, but he obviously got away. So meanwhile, the X-Men arrive in the Savage Land. Wolverine has a pretty funny line saying how it's not one of Charles's best landings, which I'm sure you probably have.
No, I skipped.
You don't have that one?
No, I was just planning on talking about it.
Wolverine has quite a few good little one-liners in this episode. It's a good Wolverine-centric episode. I wouldn't say centric, but he's certainly get the most airtime for sure.
Yeah.
So as they arrive, the X-Men quickly find out that their powers do not work. Gambit has slipped fully into Jimmy from Seinfeld now, in which he only refers to himself as Gambit at all times. It just seemed it used to be kind of a thing, and now it seems to be all the time.
Maybe come on, dude. This thing. Gambit, look inside.
Catch all that?
I don't know. Is this the cadence of
this thing? Gambit, look inside.
Just in case you didn't.
It's just the cadence of his voice and all of it. I don't know. I just find it so funny. It's like, who talks like that? Like, it's like Cajun mixed with someone who doesn't just learn English, mixed with like space alien. Like, I don't know, a robot maybe. Like, it's very interesting. Move this thing again, but take a look inside, chap.
We got great talkers on this team.
An uncharted tropical valley hidden in Antarctica. This is fantastic.
George Buzzard must just be having a field day voicing this character at this time.
I think so.
He really seems to be enjoying himself. And like the cadence of his voice specifically is always so whimsical and almost lyrical. It's like, oh, not just quoting Shakespeare or Tolstoy or whatever, but just like the usual, like just the sing-songy everydayness of what he's saying is always pretty nuts.
Yeah, he's like delivering it like an actor who's doing Shakespeare, but just chewing it right up.
Yeah, like almost every line he has is like he's on stage, like a real hammy on stage actor. Like,
yeah,
I'm not saying like I love.
But not bad hammy, not bad.
No, I'm not knocking him,
but like very. I'll have the words almost theatrical. He's just like.
Yeah, theatrical is a good word to put it.
That kind of acting that sort of separates itself from movies.
He is very theatrical, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the X-Men are attacked by the Nasty Boys who make their return. Brian Knobbs and no, I'm kidding. Those are the WWE Nasty Boys from back in the day, who are still wrestling. I might remind you.
You need a shower.
Hey, that's later. No, is that? That's later. We didn't even get to that part yet.
I was talking about those Nasty Boys you were talking about.
That's right. So the group soon encounter the Nasty Boys. There's a big fight, although the X-Men are unprepared because they do not have their powers anymore and quickly subdued. Wolverine manages to escape as he gets attacked by Hairbag and is it Gorgeous George? Is this the stretchy guy? Yeah. Who's also a wrestler.
The stretchy Australian guy.
Stretchy Australian guy on the ship. Comes at him, and we should do a whole episode where we just talk like that. How well do you think that would go?
As long as it's not on the day of the tide.
Moving in as the main business instructor, Nestor Boys the ship. Wolverine dives down into a waterfall, barely manages to survive, and then the others are taken back to Sinister's lair. Wolverine, of course, has a fun line saying I wish his healing factor was kicking in.
Mm.
But it appears as though it's not. Although his powers and what are powers and what are not powers seem rather convenient in this
Indeed.
episode as to what he uses and doesn't use when his powers are not being negated by the Sauron machine, as I call it, because I can't think of a better name.
The Sauron machine sounds
Yes,
good.
I like it. The Sauron, I don't know, that's fine.
Yeah, because this would have you believe his enhanced senses are not his mutant abilities.
Yes, because very quickly after he's dodging a few dinosaurs that followed him after he jumped off the waterfall, he bumps into Kazar and Zabu. There's a brief confrontation in which Kazar thinks that Wolverine is one of Sinister's men, evil men. And Wolverine actually doubles back, like they're following him, but Wolverine doubles back and surprises them, saying he doesn't like being followed and that he really needs a shower. Which I think is funny because Kazar looks pristine. Like for a guy who lives in the jungle, there's not a bit of dirt on him. His feet look pristine.
Here's an alternate theory there. Maybe he did lose his enhanced senses, and that's why it was an even funnier joke that he was saying that he stunk. Because even without his enhanced senses, he was still overpowered.
Well, then why isn't Kazar caught by everybody all the time?
Well, they
seems to have eluded Sinister and
accustomed to it.
Oh, okay. They've grown accustomed to its stench.
Yeah.
Oh, that Kazar stench. I don't even smell it anymore.
No.
He's always following us in the jungle, that Kazar, but
it's almost like lilac.
Never mind.
Look, nature boy, there's some guys on my tail. I got no time for conversation.
Yep.
Yeah, and like, why would Wolverine assume that this guy could be a bad guy either? He's just like, this guy's following him. He's being followed by other bad guys. Why wouldn't he assume Kazar is a bad guy as well?
Because he has a tiger.
No,
I'm down in this fern bar to rip him a new navel.
I like that one too.
Yeah,
fern bar.
Fern bar.
I like how if you just throw random things from your environment into random words from the real world, you get great insults, according to Wolverine. You just fern bar? Like, what is that?
Cal Dodd must have enjoyed this too, man. He gets to say the coolest lines.
Was Fern Gully a thing at this point? When did that movie come out?
Fern Gully came out in like 88 or 87.
No, wasn't that? I thought it was in the 90s.
No, that came out in the 80s.
I disagree. All right,
users,
send in your text votes to one. What's your cell phone number, Davin? Let's put that out there so they can text in their votes.
I thought you were putting yours up.
No, it's you. You're the brain master here.
Fern
Gully came out in 1990. Fern Gully came out in 1992. It starred the vocal talents of Robin Williams, Tim Curry, Christian Slater, Samantha Mathis, Cheech Marin, Tommy Chong, Jonathan Ward. Yeah, Tone Loc. I forgot about
Raffi.
That. Raffi's in here?
Yeah, his song is awesome. The best Raffi song. Raining Like Magic.
About that. She's a huge Raffi.
Great song.
Harry Shearer's in there too.
Raining like magic, falling like starlight.
Who are Cheech and Chong? Like I always love when they do that with cartoons. So like,
raining light.
I do not remember this song. How many times did you watch Fern Gully growing up?
Oh, lots, but I remember it because I listened to that song with my daughter all the time.
Oh, the Raffi's. Oh, well, that's cute. I mean, I can't make fun of you for that, for God's sakes. That's ridiculous. You don't bring this cuteness all up in here and expect me to be my normal sardonic self. It's impossible. Jesus. All right. You disarmed me, Devin.
I have.
All right. So
I've blinded you with science.
Yeah. So instead of me going off on a 16-page tirade about Fern Gully, I guess we go back to the actual point of this show.
Back to the Fern Bar.
The Fern Bar, yes. So then of course when they in the standard heroes fight each other until they realize they're on the same side trope, they eventually realize they're on the same side and join forces in order to go free their friends. So
does this leather chicken have seatbelts?
Yeah, they are attacked by other pterodactyl riders, and then they beat them up. Although
Skull Riders.
What are they called? Sky Riders?
No, Sky Riders. Yeah.
Riders. So which is like Sky Riders, but just a little off, which is kind of funny. So Kazar like jumps in the back of one of them, and then they fly up. He kicks him off and knocks him into the water. And when he knocks him into the water, he like I just love that they always have to show the guy land in the water. Like they always got to show the guy survive. He can't just fall off the pterodactyl and fall into the tree line, and we assume he's dead, or maybe he caught a branch. Who knows? We have to see him hit the water. And I think we have to see him come out of the water too, just to show that he's still alive, like break the surface and paddle or whatever. I don't know. Like there's always got to be some way to show that he didn't just drown or hit his head off a rock just below the water line. Just once I want to see like a cartoon do that where a guy like falls off a building into the water and then you just see the body float up face down. And it's just like...
Well, there's some very careful writing that I'm gonna mention here in a minute.
Okay.
In that same vein.
You never see anybody get wasted or totaled or...
Yeah, we do.
All right. So then we cut back to the X-Men who are now all trapped in Sinister's base. We get some nice little moments here, which we can pick apart as we go along. But
we get Sinister's plan here.
Yeah. So what I meant between the X-Men themselves, the X-Men say he plans to use their DNA to create a race of slaves that will help them take over the world, and that the mutants are too busy fighting amongst themselves, i.e., Charles and Xavier, or too busy trying to find peace with humans and being weak by doing so, i.e., Xavier himself reaching out to humanity. So that the only way for them to reach the next level is to evolve to the next stage. And that's to use the DNA of all mutants to enhance each mutant and make them
the mutant powers of all combined in each.
Which is still kind of vague. I mean,
well, I'm going to get into that.
Everybody's powers.
I'm going to get into that in my X points later.
All right. So he then do you have the line that Magneto says here when they use the machine on him?
No.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a great Magneto line.
I almost grabbed it.
So then he's going to use the machine to take small amounts of DNA from each mutant to use in his experiments. He's going to start with Magneto. And Magneto says in a really badass kind of way that if you're going to do it, just do it. Like, stop wasting time, basically. So,
oh, no.
Skip the small talk. Oh, no. We don't have to listen to your drivel.
Cyclops giving him the gears too.
Yeah,
it's cool. I think it's the first time we see Cyclops' eyes because when his powers don't work, he takes off his visor and you see his eyes proper.
This is the one here. Like they use destroy a lot instead of kill.
No,
to me this is the most noticeable one.
Stop it, Sinister! You're destroying him.
Like they're just zapping the crap. Like I even expected them to say kill because they're just like. They're definitely killing Magneto.
Well, they're using Magneto's strength, zapping it, and with this machine and putting it into Vertigo, making her stronger. So
the power of Magneto runs through her.
Yeah, maybe turning into Polaris. I don't know, but what? So there's an event of that, and then we see like other mutants being taken to have the same process done to them. At one point. Rogue and Gambit are alone in a cage, and they have a nice little moment where they're going to take them away to have their powers taken.
Loves you.
Yeah, you didn't get the first part of that line. It's like the best part. He says, "I've never." He said, "No, I've never said this to anyone before, Cher, but Gambit loves you."
Well, that was going to be one of my 5 points too. So we'll just burn that one right now. I found that funny that he had never said that to Belladonna. They were going to get
his fiance.
Yeah.
I guess not. I guess she was understanding. Maybe
like, no, I never even said this to Belladonna.
Maybe it was just physical with them.
Gambit, love you. Belladonna, Gambit, never loved you.
If you were with a girl and she said, Davin, Stacy love you, would you immediately think, maybe I shouldn't be here? I think I probably would. Like,
no, I would think that's very sweet. Ray. I'm not as critical a monster as you.
Well, it's not so much the criticalism. I think the fact that perhaps you're dating someone with a severe mental disability, and perhaps having any kind of an intimate relationship with them may not be appropriate. But anywho,
you're the one that tried to hook me up with Stacy.
I don't know who Stacy is. Stacy's metaphorical.
I don't know Stacy either. Why are we talking about Stacy?
But I know her mom has got it going on. I'm just going to say that.
What?
Stacy's mom.
Stacy
got
Senior?
It going on. You don't know Stacy's mom? Do you know anything?
No.
You don't know the song Stacy's Mom by Fountains of Wayne?
No.
It was huge, like in 2004. I know this is a podcast about nostalgia. Come on,
1704. I probably don't know.
Oh my god! If you want to talk about
I'm
Jack
a weird
the Ripper,
guy,
if you want to talk about the Whitechapel murders, then we're all set. You talk to me about Spring-Heeled Jack. You talk to me
Spring-heeled
about
Jack.
the
I tell
lost
ya, he gets
Roanoke
spring in
colony
his
of
heels.
1952, and we can go off and get into
We
this.
had to call it Dickety because the Kaiser stole our word for 20.
I chased him, but gave up after Dickety 6 miles. So they have a nice little moment of Rogan game, and they do get to finally kiss because their powers are gone, which is nice.
Yep.
So,
and that's a big thing for them to like kiss and him say he loves her already.
Yeah,
and I didn't think that would happen by the end of season 2. I was shocked. I didn't remember that at all.
Yeah, kind of odd writing wise that it happens there because like her struggling with accepting her powers was in season 1, right? When she could have given them up and then to take the cure. So
yeah, the cure was like episode
so like the idea that like they finally get to, I mean, I guess there were a few little inklings like when Morph was screwing with them and stuff. That they still have feelings here and there. I guess they do go into that a bit in the episode where you get her Rogue's origin story. So yeah, I guess it is teased enough that it's a good emotional payoff, I think. So
talking about emotional payoff.
I'm curious to see how Morph plays into the rest of the series, like the whole
Me
as
too.
a whole. So then Wolverine and Kaiser arrive to the lair. They enter the main base, distract the Nasty Boys when Kaiser sneaks into the holding cells and frees the prisoners, his wife Shanna. Ruckus attacks the escapees, but Wolverine manages to free the X-Men using his claws, which are, he can extend without his mutant powers. They're not part of that. I mean,
it just hurts. He goes, yeah, these aren't my mutant power. Ah!
Yeah. I mean, they do break through his skin every time. So, I just gave blood today before I came back from this. And like a fair sized needle went through your arm and it hurts. So imagine steak knives just cutting through your, like all the way through between your knuckles, 3 of them on each hand. Every time you use your claws, it would hurt. I mean, I assume it actually hurts when he does it normally. It just heals quite quickly. It's got to hurt when it first happens. He still has pain.
Yeah, but I guess like he heals so fast, there's just no
maybe it doesn't hurt as
pain
much
at all. So
it's like in the movies where they do the real slow motion when you see the claws come out, like when he puts 2, and then I don't know how you could flex to make 2 and not all 3 come out at once. Like when he puts them under someone's neck, and then like 2 go up, and the third one is just touching the bottom of the chin. There's going to be some great arm control to be able to do that. So,
that's a great shot when they all get their powers back.
Actually, that was going to be one of my X points later. So we won't go into that too deep. No, it's a neat sequence, is what I mean. So
I was going to talk about that later too. Interesting if we're going to say the same thing.
Combine them together. It's fine.
Yeah.
So Wolverine manages to free the X-Men. Xavier smashes a chair off of the power dampening machine. It's funny, if you have one big machine that's the central point to your master plan, what you want to do is put your enemies in the same room with the machine, so that if by any chance they were to get free just for a second, they could very quickly dismantle the machine and gain all of their powers back, and then have the advantage once again. That's Supervillain 101.
I counter that with, how do you run your machine and keep an eye on your prisoners at the same time?
They don't really need to run them. It's not like it was a dude in a bicycle power.
You got to run your death machines.
You got to run the death machine.
We have to destroy the machines.
Yes. So they managed to smash it, which causes all the X-Men's abilities to come back, and Xavier to once again lose the use of his legs. And then they get in a big fight. Everybody just fights everybody, which is the fun little sequence. A big brouhaha. We get to see Magneto sort of opening up his powers. We get to see Morph doing some fun fighting. That's a little later. Don't get ahead of me with that yet. Oh. So that's all right. So eventually, Sinister is the last villain standing. He tries to assert mind control over Morph again after the X-Men. Him and Cyclops get into a battle where they're shooting beams straight at each other, and it's kind of like that scene where like they're in a stalemate because the beams are equally as powerful. But then he uses his ability to activate Morph's mind control device he has in his head. And Morph grabs a gun and is going to go shoot Cyclops, but then Xavier reaches out to him and uses his power to to connect with Morph and remind him that he's an X-Man first.
You're part of a team.
Yeah, and Wolverine
You're
comes
an
over to like
X-Man.
stop Morph, but just as he's about to slice through
Yeah.
Morph's hand, essentially Morph turns the gun and shoots Sinister, so he misses him. And then Sinister is overcome
And
by
it's
all
just
the power.
the advantage Cyclops needed because they were standing there for like a minute.
Yeah, it was quite a while. It's almost like in Dragon Ball Z when they're almost there for like half an episode, just like shooting beams that go closer and back and closer and
It
back.
was very like that.
Well, the planet was supposed to blow up 6 episodes ago. So everyone fires Sinister. He causes him to explode into tiny pieces, which I thought was an interesting way to dismember a villain. I've never seen a villain just shatter like glass before, but it was kind of interesting.
We have to destroy.
It's not the villain.
Like T-1000.
Didn't shatter the nitrogen?
Mm-hmm.
I guess so. That's the number 2.
Even
Although
starts to coalesce like T-1000. It's a total
I'm more a
T-1000
fan of
rod.
the
That was going to be one of my points too, I think.
That's all right, you can keep it. I'm more of a fan of the discontinued Universal Studios ride in which Arnold Schwarzenegger and John Connor, played by Edward Furlong and Arnold Schwarzenegger, fight the T-1 million. It actually is true. If you ever seen that ride at Universal, we saw it like the year before they stopped it. It actually is a fairly satisfying. I think James Cameron directed it too. It's a fairly satisfying sequel to Terminator 2, more so than anyone I've seen so far. So basically, they have to go to the future this time, and then they fight the T-1 million, which is like the T-1000 but giant. It's like the size of a building.
Oh my God.
And they have like the screens which shows the footage. And then the actors that are like shadowed, so you can't really tell they're not the people on the screen. You see them run around and there's guns and stuff going off. It's kind of fun. Although the guy that was Schwarzenegger was definitely a heavy set dude. Like he's wide, but he definitely is pretty fat too. So like it's just kind of funny watching like buff Schwarzenegger on the screen, and then they run through a door and he comes out over here. It's like a shadow of like, I'm trying to think of like a comparable actor, like David Harbour maybe, but like when he was kind of fatter, like in season 3 of Stranger Things, like he's Schwarzenegger, like it's just really funny. Anywho,
in the middle of Black Widow.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like Red Guardian, David Harbour. He's actually pretty good shape, but he just in some roles he looks pudgier than others because it's part of the character. So
that sounds better than all the Terminator movies that came after T2.
I actually like Terminator 3. I know most people didn't, but I actually didn't mind it. I like Nick Stahl, the actor, and the idea that spoiler alert, I guess, but nobody's seen it. Everybody's seen these movies a million years ago.
Every Terminator movie makes the past ones irrelevant anyway.
Yeah, the idea that
the timeline.
The Terminator tricks him into going into hiding at the end, and like you think the Terminator makes him think they can actually stop the end of the world, but he knows they can't, and he tricks him. I thought was an interesting little twist, and I kind of like that part of it. That, and there's a really funny cut scene where they're showing like they're starting a military program with robots, and that they have a model that they're going to be using, and it's an American GI from like Texas, played by Schwarzenegger. Like it's an ad on TV or something, or a news story, and like he talks the stupid Texas accent. So it's just like a funny little nod as to why the Terminators all look like Schwarzenegger, because he was the model, this American general or whatever, like the super gung ho, muscly American dude. Which was a hoot. They cut it. You watched it in the cutscenes, but it's kind of funny. So yeah, he shatters into a million pieces. Sinister does. However, he begins to reform himself. And Jean Grey scatters his pieces all across the Savage Land. Although after he shatters, old Brainchild, it's like, I will save you, master.
Just picking up pieces.
Runs out trying to pick up the little shards of Sinister. But there's something. It's almost kind of like Salvador Dali-ish, sort of interesting, like this weird surrealism about the villain just shattering into pieces. So
it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So they help the natives of Savage Land rebuild their village afterwards. They take Morph back. Xavier says that they'll be able to remove the implant once they get him back to the mansion, but the psychological damage will take a lot longer to repair, and they're going to work on that.
And
it was good to fight alongside you again, Charles.
Then join me in my work.
That can never be.
That can never be.
He says we are on 2 different paths, and then he leaves. But Charles does say farewell, my friend. So I don't know if they really go into this. Hello, Lebowski. I don't know if they really go into
Lebowski,
this.
what's up, buddy?
He's buddy. Come on, buddy. You want to be in the show? Come on. There he is.
Hey there, buddy
There's the
boy. What a good boy.
He's your boy.
That's a good boy.
So yeah, I don't know if they go in like I'd be curious to see where they go with it, because like Magneto wasn't like that. He's kind of like had a few episodes, but he's never really like a major villain. You know what I mean? Like overarching in a point that like he was the biggest threat to them, besides in his introduction episodes. That's really it. So after that, it's Apocalypse, and then Sinister, and then I guess Dark Phoenix next season. Phoenix and Dark Phoenix, and
only the future will prove which one of us is right.
But I do still like that there's a bit of honor between them, or a bit of respect, regardless of the what side of the aisle they're on. So it's kind of the same. Like I do enjoy that part of it, because I know, as I mentioned before, that Stan Lee claims, whether he really did or not, to have modeled, Xavier after Malcolm, or not Malcolm X. Malcolm X was modeled X. Yeah, their attitudes towards fighting against racism basically were modeled after Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X being the more extreme of the two, being Magneto, and Martin Luther King being Xavier. But those two men probably had a respect for one another because they're both fighting for a similar cause. They just had different ways of doing it. So I do kind of like that. Magneto's kind of a villain, but there's still like a bit of a redemptive quality to him. And I don't want every villain to become a hero eventually, as they seem to, because once they're cool enough, they give them a redemption arc. There are some that should stay villains forever. I know Mr. Sinister is kind of a good guy now too, is he not? So,
I'll talk about that later, probably.
All right. So, yeah, that's basically the end of the episode. Though we do see, rather comedically, Sauron, who, so during the fight after Sinister was dispatched, Sauron pulls the self-destruct sequence that blows up the whole building, and then flies away. And at the end of the episode, he says, like, finally he's free. The Savage Land is free of Sinister. And when he flies off, and for a little
bit. The Savage Land is cleansed of Outlanders. Now its true future begins.
His voice is scary, actually.
It is. I like it. It's almost like the lizard sort of from Spider-Man. So and then we see the sands on the beach sort of reform into the face of Sinister, which laughs. I always find that funny. Cue Saban logo. So I always find that funny. Like, it's got to be a physically taxing event to reform yourself after you've been shattered into 1,000 pieces. So, like,
probably.
I just love that. Like, you'd think physically, until you're reformed wholly, or at least mostly back into an actual corporeal form, you wouldn't be like laughing, just because you survived. I think
that's why your name's not Mr. Sinister.
It's such a trope.
When you're Mr. Sinister, you have to be sinister at all times.
That's true.
Even when shattered.
Maybe you'd have to turn in his
pieces.
His Sinister card. You have to turn it in, and he couldn't do it.
Absolutely. So I suppose that's the end of the episode.
Sure is.
Quite a good episode.
Yeah, it was a fun episode.
But let's see how good.
Each of us will have to look into his own heart and decide.
You first.
Somewhere between 7 and 8. 8. Let's say 8.
I also gave it an 8.
Mostly the highlights being Sinister, just because he's so cool. Wolverine and Kazar's hanging out, which is a lot of fun. He had some great lines. And the fight sequence at the end was really good.
Yes. So why don't we get to that type of stuff right now? Uncanny X points. Why don't you jump into it? You seem raring to go there.
Oh man, I'm fine. Let's go. Let's go. Time to put them up. Put them up. All I want some courage. Some courage. My cat's already asleep on the floor, laying on my foot.
How many lumps do you want? 3 lumps.
It's funny, and this is unrelated to this, but I was just thinking about. I'm like, every once in a while we do these episodes. I mean, there's always a like a feeling that you need to entertain, not just talk about this stuff. You gotta have fun and just. I mean, our banter I think brings all that on its own. But I remember a friend of ours and someone who listens to the show regularly, Neil Malloy, reached out one time and said, because I think I went off on a tirade about MeUndies and I wanted the underwear with the dick pouch in them. And then he sent me a thing saying how the dick pouch thing made him laugh a lot. And I was like, that's really funny. So we gotta really harness in on these buzzwords and catchphrases. I want my
Wait till you
dick.
hear the best of Sizzle Reel.
Ooh, I can't wait. I want my dick pouch. So
It's just gonna be I want my dick pouch on repeat.
it's like when I want my elephant on the Simpsons when Bart's trying to get the elephant he's supposed to win. Oh, they're playing the elephant song again. All right, first point, the fight sequence at the end after they all get their powers back and they have the big fight between the X-Men and the Nasty Boys and Sinister. It's really cool. Like as far as choreographed action and cartoons go, I mean, it's always fairly simple. You can just throw a guy and hit another guy with the guy you threw, and then there was a beam or something like that. But this one actually has some interesting, showing them use their powers in interesting ways that are unique to each of them. Specifically, Cyclops. There's a couple shots where he like gets between a guy, shoots a guy, stops another guy, and then like throws himself to the side to get an angle to get a guy above a thing, which is really neat. Like the animation in this fight sequence is fantastic, especially when you think about the time period. I mean, this was almost 30 years ago. So it's amazing. Like it's a really, really, really good fight sequence. And the animators should be proud of themselves for that because it looks stellar. And it's a great use of watching. So in superhero movies, mostly in Marvel movies, they always go on. I can watch you laugh when you see me go off on a tirade. But most of these movies end with a big fight between a giant army of robots or aliens or something, and then the regular people we know and love. So, like, I just want to see one of these movies end with a fight between like a group of 5 versus the Avengers, like something like that. So when in this movie, when you see all their unique powers all in action at the same time as they're all fighting each other, it's really cool. You got Hairbag doing his thing, you got Gorgeous George stretching over everybody, Ruckus screaming. Like Wolverine coming in with the claws, Cyclops
First you charge Descartes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Storm.
I thought it was the perfect season-ending fight scene.
I agree. It was very, very well done.
Especially emphasized by the fact that they didn't have their powers, and then they get their powers back, and immediately that fight scene starts.
Yeah,
and it's like this, and the music starts hitting. They always play the opening theme, but like a little more,
Sinister was
heavier beat and faster. But
I think I glossed over his big plot, but like it's still vague as to why he needs Jean Grey and Cyclops specifically. He said he's waited years, like 30 years for them. So I'm guessing they're 30 when we're trying to figure out their ages, by the way, because he wanted them to be around for his genetics. Why them specifically? I assume time will tell. But leading into this fight, so the whole fight with all of them was just fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. All right, here's mine.
All right.
I do not need the elements to deal with a toad like you.
That's your point.
Because you know what the elements can do to a toad like him.
Oh, well, it's funny because what happens?
What happens to a toad when it's hit by lightning?
Is it the same thing that happens to everything else?
You would think so. But no, it does.
It's funny none of those characters came back in any of those other X-Men movies, like Ray Park's Toad, or you know what I mean, like or Sabretooth, Tyler means Sabretooth. But that's funny. What's even funnier about that line is what happens quickly after she says that. They all get beat up and taken away by Sinister. You clearly do need your powers to deal with a toad like him. Although of all those nasty boys in mutants. Hanging around. Hello, Ethan.
Hello, Ethan.
7544.
71544.
Oh yeah,
Can I ask you a question?
Ask away.
It depends on the question. The last person that asked me that, I didn't put their question up on here because it was.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Did you get a rude question?
Yeah.
Oh, what was it?
I don't know. It was quite a few episodes ago.
Really?
Early on, when I was just a young podcaster, and early on in our run here.
Oh, well, you never told me about that. I'm always up for a good lewd story. Throw it in there next time someone does one.
Yeah.
We don't have to answer it, but let me know what they say.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, Ethan. When your question comes through, if it's appropriate, we'll answer.
Exactly, Ethan. Fire away.
Fire away.
And we'll see if I censor you, because this is a show about the 90s.
Oh, the old
censorship was in
hand.
full swing back then.
The old hand of censorship, Davin Skellhorn. Oh, Kim John Skellhorn over here. All right.
We dream of a better world.
Second point for me then. Jubilee. No Jubilee in this episode. They left her home.
Yeah. That's a shame.
I know, it's weird. Like, it's the big season-ending break-off fight. I mean, I guess they had so many X-Men in there, and they did a good job of giving each of them a decent amount of time. But I don't think Jubilee really got a focused episode this season, did she? I don't think so.
I mean,
Pretty sure
I
not.
think she blew up a CD player, I think.
She does that every season.
No, I
don't really think so.
I mean, she had a lot of season 1.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So, but she's not in this fight, and I just thought it interesting that they chose to admit her.
Oh, good. They didn't bring the child to the fight for once. That's a
for once. Get in there, Jubilee. Get your hands dirty. Let's see you fight some people.
Okay, my next point is I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before, but they based Sinister, or at least visually, off of Bela Lugosi's Dracula. The way he slips in and out of the shadows.
Well, they even have a line too.
Voice.
They have a line. Who's the big guy? Slab? Yeah. That's a big guy, right? He says something about you're going to go meet the man in the cape. And I'm like,
yeah.
It's like cape. No, I guess it's kind of a cape, but it's like it's all split. Like it's like in strands of a cape.
Yeti cape.
Yeti cape. All right, my point. I'm on point 3 now. This episode aired on February 19th, 1994.
Was it a leap year?
I don't know. I didn't look that up. But this would have been essentially the Valentine's Day episode of the X-Men. So, if you like the X-Men in the 90s, you could have curled up with your loved one and watched
Gambit love you, everybody. Everyone was just
maybe that's why the love got thrown in, just for the Gambit.
Oh, that was a terrible year. Everyone was sitting at dinner and their significant others were just wishing they were Gambit. Like, I wish he was Gambit. You're not
I never said this before, Shep.
Talk to me like Gambit.
Gambit loves you.
Want to get some dinner on Valentine's Day, Shep?
You like some Valentine's Day, Shep?
Oh, I like the way you talk to me like Gambit. That's all.
All
right, my next one. Okay, so the 90s, dinosaurs were huge, obviously, because of Jurassic Park and that type of thing. But you know what? Take it even a step further. You know what was a particularly 90s obsession? Riding dinosaurs.
Are you referring to Cadillacs and dinosaurs again?
You remember Dino Riders?
Vaguely remember.
Yeah, Dino Riders, Cadillacs and dinosaurs. Anything that dinosaurs showed up in everything. And when they did, someone would always try to ride it. Riding
it's funny how you can
peak enjoyment level. Like if you want to take enjoyment up to 11, you ride a dinosaur.
It's funny
at least in the 90s.
You can trace a lot of these cultural touchstones back to one singular thing. Like Jurassic Park, I think the Michael Crichton novel, which led to the movie, is kind of what kickstarted this dinosaur craze. The movie obviously really kicked it up. Because then you had all these movies like Prehysteria and the Whoopi Goldberg one where she was like the cop with the dinosaur partner. I can't remember what that one was called. There's a lot of weird.
That was called Theodore Rex.
That's right. The Land Before Time movies.
Land Before Time was amazing. The first one, man, if you don't shed a tear during that movie.
The first one, actually, that fight at the end with Sharptooth on the mountain is actually really cool and really good animation. Before they get to the straight to DVD jobbies later, it was pretty solid. But there's one great terrible movie, and it's like one of those so bad it's good midnight screening movies.
Was it Carnosaur?
No, although that would apply too. But I am a fan of Shudder and horror movies in general. And on Shudder and horror movies, they have a show called Joe Bob Briggs' Last Drive-In. The Joe Bob Briggs is a Texan who used to run a TV show years ago where he would show horror movies. It was like dinner and a movie. He would introduce the movie, show the movie. They'd take breaks in between where they talk to people and talk about the movie, then go back to the movie. So he does it on Shudder now in double bills every Friday night. It's a show in itself. It'll show old movies. And then he has specials on holidays. So for Valentine's Day, he had a special several years ago, but you can watch it on Shudder because they're archived on there, with a movie called Tammy and the T-Rex. Have you heard of this movie?
I've heard. Yeah, I have.
So Denise Richards is in it. It's like one of her first movies, and Paul Walker in one of his first movies. And also, there's a villain. There's two actors that you may recognize if you know esoteric cinema. One being the actor who played Bernie in the Weekend at Bernie's movies, the dead guy.
Man, who actually played Bernie?
He was in Friday the 13th Part 7. He was the psychiatrist that was trying to help the girl with the psychic powers.
Man, I used to love Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah,
Great summer movie.
I met Jonathan Silverman, one of the actors from that movie, on a set for a movie. I
used to watch his sitcom, The Single Guy.
Oh, really? He starred in a Beethoven movie that I was in, The Dog, like number 7 or 8.
You were in Beethoven?
Number 7, I think it was Beethoven's Treasure.
Oh man, Beethoven 1 was awesome.
Yeah, well, diminishing returns. I could go off on a tirade about that too. I met some other cool people: Colin Mockery, Morgan Fairchild.
The guy Mockery is a Canadian legend.
Do you remember the show? Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, I loved it, man.
Remember that guy that was like always?
Gal Dodd did a voice in that.
The guy that always ran the magic shop that popped up a few episodes. He was like, he had word that. Yeah, I met him. He was in it. Oh, the guy that played Babu from Seinfeld. You very bad man, Jenny. Very bad man.
Very bad man.
He was there too. It was cool. Yeah. I was the security guard chasing the dog through the casino. So if you watch it, you'll see me chasing the dog. And at one point when I was chasing the dog, it stopped and they yelled cut and it turned around and ran at me. And it just ran back to its trainer past me, but it scared the hell out of me. So because it's a big dog and it just suddenly stopped and turned and ran straight at me. And I was like, oh my God.
Maybe now I'm going to change one of my points.
Right. Oh, it's okay. So anyway, my point being, we're in the fourth one now, right?
Yeah.
So my fourth point being, when Sinister is destroyed, it explodes into 1,000 pieces, which seems to be, and it's kind of vague the way it's displayed, but it seems to be because Sauron did it. Like he actually seemed to have, kind of not really been in the fight and quickly blew up the whole building when it all turned on Sinister. Which I thought was interesting. So it seems kind of, he's like the Starscream of, because he kind of allows Cyclops and Morph to destroy Sinister. He's standing right there and he doesn't do anything. But after Sinister shatters and everybody bolts, like the second Sinister blows up, everybody bolts. The one and leaves, like runs out of the building. They're gone. All the villains are gone. The one villain that stays behind is Brainchild, who runs out to try to collect his master. He's like, "I'll save you, master," and runs out. I mean, that's just grade A level henchmaning there. Like that.
Yeah, he sounds like Toad from Pride of the X-Men, actually.
Oh, is Toad have a lyrical, like a super?
Oh, he's his master.
Yeah, but this guy almost sounds kind of like Peter Lorre, like from the old horror movies, like M, and well, he was in Casablanca and a lot of other movies. But they used to make fun of him on the Looney Tunes all the time. They usually always had
eyes.
Big bug eyes. They usually always had. He would have made a good Toad actually. But they always on Looney Tunes they used to like have little analogs that were just obviously him as different characters. We'd be like, what are you doing, master? The way he talks, that sort of thing. So yeah, Brainchild came running into the rescue. That's some good. If you're gonna run an evil empire, you gotta have a good lackey.
That's loyalty.
That is loyalty.
All right, so my fourth point, which just made me think of one. Cal Dodd did a legendary voice in Are You Afraid of the Dark? And that is of Slappy, the ventriloquist dummy. He was the voice of Slappy.
On the ghost.
Oh no, on Goosebumps. Not Afraid of the Dark.
Yeah,
I'm thinking Goosebumps. Oh, they were on after each other. Yeah,
he's the voice of Slappy. That's funny.
Yeah, he's the voice of Slappy. Yeah,
did he do him in the movie with Jack Black?
Oh, I don't know.
I highly doubt it. That's really cool though.
Slappy was a good voice. It's scary.
So my final point is Sinister. We talked earlier about how he's designed for Bela Lugosi. I really like that. And with that kind of the echoey voice he has and the teeth, there's like pardon the reference, but there is a very sinister bend to him, the way he looks. So the name is kind of apt. The name Mr. Sinister is good alliteration, not alliteration, but rhyme scheme.
Close.
It'd have to be an S and an S, but like he has a line which I really like, which is kind of lyrical in itself as well. But he says he mocks the goals of Xavier and Magneto, and he says you'd rather fawn over humankind in hopes of a sniveling coexistence, or fight amongst yourselves to prepare for a war. And I love that. Like I said earlier, I said all this season. I've said all this season that I love when the villain and the hero have to team up against a bigger villain, and one that actually seems to threaten both of their existences, or at least their.
Because he's threatening their philosophies as well.
Yeah, or at least their philosophies.
Third philosophy, which is
just a straight up. Yeah.
Except for with Apocalypse, he sort of has his own sort of twisted.
Yeah, I mean, Apocalypse and Sinister are kind of similar in their goals, although Apocalypse just seems to want to destroy the world completely, and I'm not sure why. Because where is he going to live? I guess space. I guess we've established Mojo World exists, so there's other places you can go live. But I just don't get, like, if you suddenly had access to all, like, say you got the TARDIS tomorrow, and say you hated something about humanity or the world, you had a gripe against humans or Earth in general. But you suddenly have a machine that you can go anywhere in space, go visit any world, meet any people, go to some, sex planet, go to some fun video game planet, go do everything you want to do everywhere. Why would you get hung up on petty bullshit like trying to blow up the world? Like, the universe is yours now. You can do whatever the hell you want. Why would you waste time trying to destroy the world? Like, why would you care?
The great Forrest Gump once said, pettiness does as pettiness does. Pettiness is as pettiness does.
That is not a line from Forrest Gump.
What?
That is
When's the last time you watched Forrest Gump?
Corrupted
listeners?
Line. Well, I don't really. I mean, that movie is almost so sappy. It gives you diabetes to watch it. You become Wilford Brimley.
Diabetes, I believe it's pronounced.
But I'm like anybody, I guess there's a soft spot in my heart for Forrest Gump. However, that is not a line from it, you jerk. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good, really good villain, really good fight at the end. I really like the setup, and I'm interested to see if and when he returns, what they're going to do with him.
All right, so
last point.
My last point is I'm going to try to explain Sinister's motivations a little bit and how they have resonated into comics recently. So he says he wants to take all the powers and give them to everybody, essentially. And that's sort of what happens in like the future, in like the Dawn of X and House of X storylines. In the far future, there are the mutants are these things called chimeras, and they're mixtures of all the different powers. Like one of them called Rasputin has like Kitty Pryde and Colossus and like Magic's power, like a whole bunch of people's powers. And there's a bunch of them. There's one called North that has Magneto's powers and some other people's powers. I think Wolverine's healing factor maybe, or something like that. Anyway, there's a bunch of them, and they're called chimeras. And yeah, one of them teleports like Nightcrawler. Yeah, and they're just
mixtures. Well, chimera makes sense because it's a term that's often used in science fiction to be some kind of a mutant that's a combination of various types of DNA, and usually it's because it's a Greek mythological creature that is a combination of a few different animals. If I recall correctly, it's like a lion and a goat and an eagle
with wings.
Yeah. So I think the tail might be a snake too.
Yeah,
if
maybe.
I recall correctly. No, it is a fire-breathing hybrid composed of different animal parts, usually depicted as the lion with the head of a goat protruding from its back and a tail that might end with a snake's head, and has wings too.
So in X-Men lore, he achieves this, and eventually all mutants end up just being chimeras, except for Wolverine. He's still around.
Of course he is.
But yeah, so that's it. Chimeras. But that kind of leads me into... I'll kick us off in this next one here.
Hey, check this out.
This is our comic reminiscences and recommendations segment. And what I'm going to recommend is some good old Mr. Sinister stuff, but not that old. Hellions.
Oh, Zeb Wells, one of my favorite writers.
Yeah, man. Check out this Hellions run. It's basically Sinister's team. Like, it looks like Havoc's the leader there, but like,
who's the egg?
Oh, that's Nanny and Orphan Maker. Nanny, the egg, and Orphan Maker to her right. They used to show up in like Excalibur and X Factor comics. They are awesome in this. Nanny is terrifying. If there's anybody that Sinister should be afraid of, it's Nanny. It's a good book. It's really good, actually. There's Grey Crow there, and Cypher, and Quan, and Wild Child. Well, no, this run is over. You can read this entire run now. Yeah.
Do you like? What is your favorite Havoc design?
The old school black with the headgear. Well, not the new version of it, but the old one where he's just wearing black. He has the circle in the center and the headgear. I love that.
I don't know if I like the headgear. I don't know. I kind of like the one when he was like, I think it was his redesign to go along with Cyclops' one back in the
just
90s,
with the blonde hair.
Didn't he have the coat too? He had like a coat.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. He was so 90s. He had cool.
I know. Yeah. Like Cable with all the patches and metal arms. Everybody gets coats and patches and shoulder pads in the 90s.
But honestly, the newer ones of him are actually pretty good too. It's kind of a combination of the one I like and the one you like, really.
Cool. I have to check that out. I really do have a deep hole in my X-Men knowledge, and there's just so much of it. It's hard to keep up. But if you like, I almost and I forgot to buy it. When I was wrestling on the weekend, I was in Cape Breton, Moncton, and I was looking at Comic Hunter in Moncton, and they have these prestige format books that are like classic stories done in these big ways, so you can see the art. Like it's like 12 by 18, maybe it's less than that, but it's around that size. And they had the God Loves Man Kills one, and I looked at it and I was like, shit, I should have bought this, and I forgot about it. I bought some books. Tom King Tom King, the writer for DC, has a novel that he put out recently. They had there, and then there's a book about Chris Ware, who does the Acme Novelty Library comics, which they're super depressing but realistic and really good about real life. But anyway, next time I'm there, I'll probably pick that up because I forgot that it was there and it was really cool. Or maybe when I go to Strange Adventures, they have it, I'll pick it up.
That's very good. I still have the original back there in a box.
Yeah, I don't think I do, so I have to pick it up. All right, I'm going to recommend something that's not X-Men related, just because it's friends of mine who've done something. So in the mail today, former guests of my show, the Graphic Histories podcast, Troy and Brenda Little, have done a book together that they put off on Kickstarter, and it just arrived yesterday. It's called Butterfly House, and
I love butterflies, and it is fairly partial to houses as well.
It is gorgeous, and the cool thing about the book is it connects with two separate stories that connect in the center. And if you read from one story this way, for instance, you can read the book this way and then start it that way, and then you can flip the book and read it this way, and both stories meet in the center. And you can so you can start with either side you want, so the book can be read either way. But then when it joins up in the middle, you flip it and read it from the other side. And it changes depending on what way you read it. It's genius and it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful Kickstarter. I mean, look at the golden boss. You can see it there.
Yeah, it looks really good, man.
So Brenda drew half of it, like one side. Troy drew the other. They wrote it together. The Kickstarter came with all kinds of beautiful stuff. There's a poster, a bookmark, a lenticular bookmark, decals, stickers, some other stuff. But I'm sure this is going to be getting a mainstream release soon enough. I'm not sure if you can get it out there now or if it's just for the Kickstarter and it'll be hitting the comic store soon enough. But man, oh man, I'm sure local comic stores probably bought the vendor version, so they probably have some there as well. But it's insanely beautiful, and I think it's important we also try to push, our friends' work, and
for sure,
this is fantastic. So check it out. Andre recommends it.
Well, I plug my cousin's podcast.
That's right.
All right, those are good recommendations. That's good, man. That looks really interesting.
Yeah,
and it did look very beautiful.
I think I might have to just start recommending other comics. I don't have that many trades about the X-Men, and you seem to have the X-Men market corner. So I think I'm just going to throw out random stuff that I read that I came across that I really enjoyed. So
we have had a request for a complete list of all our recommendations.
Oh God.
I'm gonna have to go.
You want to go back and do all that?
Well, it's gonna be me. It's gonna be me.
Look, I'm too busy working on stuff for your Patreon page that you just started. This is a great episode from season 2.
This is
That's a different person.
Yeah,
the other guy asked this question?
No.
No. Maybe he said if it was inappropriate, you wouldn't read it, and then he left.
But I agree with John. This is a great episode from season 2.
Thank you, John, and happy you're tuning in, man. I like now that we're actually getting these messages on air. It's kind of neat to see that there are folks that you do this for so long. It's been what since before Christmas, right? So it would have been in the fall we started this of last year.
26 weeks in. Well,
we had a couple specials. So probably about 30 weeks somewhere in there, 31, 32 weeks. So yeah, I mean, getting close to a year, and you kind of forget when it's just you and me talking. I often forget that there's actually an audience. So it's cool that they tune in and that they're enjoying it because we have a lot of fun doing this. And believe me, as far as I'm concerned, there'll be much more to come. Even when
we love you, X-Goons.
We love you guys, and hopefully you'll follow us when we do other stuff too. We've talked about a bevy of other cartoons to do, and even not even. I mean, we've talked about a few, but I feel like maybe even beyond comics, like Gargoyles or Darkwing Duck or something like that, might be a fun track too down the line. So maybe we'll just do this forever, Davin, you and I.
We'll be old and
Edith what do you mean will be
embarrassed? Yeah, you're right.
What do you mean will be? I'm a fading 36 years old. So the Grim Reaper's at the door.
Would you believe me if I told you I have a new segment?
Yes, because you throw new segments at me constantly.
Oh, right.
Are you setting it up right now? Because you seem to be doing something.
You're supposed to know everything.
You're supposed to know everything.
Well, me?
Well, both of us. Anyway, this is our new trivia segment. So,
oh wow!
Since I'm supposed to know everything, you're gonna hit me with one of your trivia questions from your trivia show that you do
really?
at the hit me.
Oh, you should have given me.
Then I'm gonna hit you back with X-Men trivia.
Okay, well, I don't just remember those right offhand. So
you did that other time, so I figured you had this in the bag.
Well, look, I'll pick one from April 8th, 2021. All right, so I'll give you the categories from this round. We have history with a Q. Mm-hmm. The answers I'll start with Q. 2000s movies, rappers' real names, musicians by pictures. So we'll skip that one because I don't have those pictures. Words containing animals, music, the music round, which I can't play for you. I guess I could sing it, and general knowledge. So which one do you want?
Words containing animals.
Okay, so the answer to every question is a word or a phrase that has an animal in it.
Mm-hmm.
So a checkered fabric pattern.
Checkered fabric pattern.
Often found in sport coats. If you want an extra clue. Are you muted?
Am I muted?
Oh, no, you're okay. I thought you were saying words.
Well, I'm mumbling because I'm trying to figure it out. Geez, I think you stumped me.
It's called houndstooth.
Ah, I did not know that.
You didn't know houndstooth suit?
Okay. No, I was leaning towards like herringbone or something. But
well, I think it's a color, isn't it?
But no, herringbone is a pattern. It's like
well, you know what? I probably would have accepted that. Was it a checkered fabric pattern though?
No, it's not quite checkered. Yeah. It's more like triangles, like a spine of a
right. I mean, if you argued, I probably would have given you the point, but
specific. Oh well. So all right, here's your X-Men question.
Oh God, okay.
Which of these following people was an X-Men character who dated a character who dated an X-Men character? Okay. Is it Sylvia North? Is it Sally Western?
Who's Sally Western? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Is it Candy Southern? Or is it May East.
What was the first one? North?
Sylvia North.
I'm gonna go with that.
No, it's Candy Southern.
Who'd she date?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Iceman or Angel. It was one of them. It was in the X
Back in
Factor stuff.
Iceman's Closeted days?
Yes. It might have been Angel.
Sorry,
his
Sally
Playboy
Southern.
days.
Sorry, Sally Southern. I'm sure that wasn't a very rewarding relationship for you.
Candy Southern, actually.
Sorry. Candy Southern. Yeah, sorry. The other one sounded ridiculous. Wouldn't want to go around calling her Sandy Southern because that sounds stupid. It's obviously Candy Southern.
Obviously.
There is no up, nor down, no left, nor right.
What's wrong with Andre?
Not much. Feeling a little overwhelmed lately. Busy. A lot of stuff going on. I've got inserts for my shoes coming because I have plantar fasciitis. I got the orthotics ordered. They should be here soon. I've had it forever.
Summer will do that to you, man. Summer will do that to you.
I've had it forever, and I was just too stubborn to get them because I didn't want to admit that I have to get something to make, you have to do something like take a pill or do something to make your life better. So eventually I was like, after it acted up one day and I was like hobbling around for a few days, I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Just get the goddamn orthotics. But the orthotic guy suggested I get sandals to wear around the house instead of just walking around bare feet that are, have good arch support. So I get these ones, and they're actually really nice. They came in yesterday. And
look, man, once you've done adult diapers, it gets pretty easy to accept it.
Are you doing adult diapers?
Oh, I thought you did.
No. Oh. Aren't you the same age as me?
I'm older than you.
Oh, you old piece of shit.
I know.
Falling apart before my very eyes.
You youngsters and your orthotics.
Also, I've had when I was in Moncton, I picked up a record. I posted on Facebook, social media. It was the MTV Unplugged series that MTV used to do. I'm a huge fan of a few of them. The Nirvana one, of course, but the Korn did one in like 2007 or 10 or something, and they never released it on vinyl. But like they had it there on vinyl, and the cover, like if you see a record, I don't know, you don't collect records, but if you see one sometime,
I do.
Oh, you do, okay. So if you see
blues
a record,
and classical and reggae records.
I get some blues records. They got a cool one with Taj Mahal and Ry Cooder that I've been looking at every. Pardon?
And jazz.
Yeah, I like jazz too. I have the Spider Jazz album, which is all the jazz music from the 1960 Spider-Man show.
God.
It's awesome. It's called Spider Jazz. They couldn't actually put Spider-Man's name on it for copyright reasons, but it is the soundtrack from the show.
If we ever do a Spider-Man show, it's going to be the soundtrack for that.
Well, I don't know if we're legally allowed to use that, but
can we legally do this show right now?
I think you can for review shows. You're allowed. If it's a review, you're allowed to do it. Well, I don't know if you can play the whole song. I think you only let it so much time, but still, it's. So anyway, yeah, I picked this thing up because the cover was like, you could tell the cover wasn't like low. It was very low DPI, almost like they did a scan of the CD and then blew it up. CD cover because it came out in CD but never on vinyl. So I was like, went to the front counter and it's new, like it's wrapped up, shrink wrapped, and I was like, is this just a weird bootleg? And the guy's like, yep. So I said, all right. And he said, there's somebody else that obviously printed on vinyl. So I listened to it and it's amazing. It's really good. I mean, look, if you're a kid in the early 2000s, you probably listened to nu metal like Disturbed and Korn and all those bands. I certainly did.
I did.
And I have a reverence for them for that reason. I mean, mostly I just listen when I work out. But the unplugged version is kind of neat because it's like you kind of like forget how talented some musicians are when you take away like all the big noise of it. And on one of those songs, he does his song "Make Me Bad" it's a duet kind of with Robert Smith from The Cure, and it's sort of the songs, it blends in between "Make Me Bad" and what's the song called by The Cure? Something, it's "Better Day" or something. "Waiting on Better Days" or something like that. And anyway, because of that, I've got into a kind of a bit of a in between days. That's what it's called. So because of that, I've gotten into a bit of a Cure rabbit hole, and I've been listening to The Cure a lot lately. So that's a good thing, but it's fun. It's been good. Listen to that song. Check out that album, MTV Unplugged Corn.
Have it. All right. Very good. Very good.
All my life I've waited to create.
What's working with Davin? Well, I
After that soundbite, it better be something to do with your kid.
No, baby cuddles again?
Oh, I don't know. You're like, I've waited my whole life to create. And you did. You made a kid.
Oh, I can easily make this about my kid. Man, it's awesome having a kid when you like, they just become little people. Like, first they're just little lumps, and then they're like little crying lumps, and then they're little like squirmy lumps.
They're not crying lumps to begin with. I feel like they cry right from the get-go, don't they?
It's overstated, perhaps. At least in my case. But watching her becoming a little person is pretty freaking awesome. And she just, every day, like, you're just like, is she more of like a human today? Is it more of a little person today? Yeah.
I feel like I'd have an overwhelming fear that my kid would turn into an asshole. I know they're too young right now to do that, but I've just seen too many people that I thought were dicks in the real world to think that.
There's a
lot worried that mine might become one.
Well, she's got an awesome personality.
I'm sure she does. Look at her dad. I don't know her mom, but her dad is fantastic, so I'm sure she's going to be very cute.
Well, I don't think we have any news from the 97 series.
I don't.
You want to play around the X casting before we get out of here?
Sure, let's do that.
All right, let's do it for a season finale X cast. There's usually a banner for that.
X casting? We have a banner for that?
Oh, there it is. Yeah, expert casting. All right. So, you go first.
So
I think our last one didn't count, actually, so I had to go back to mine.
Because I picked a better one for yours?
Yeah, which was Corsair, but there already is a guy who does a voice for Corsair, and we're trying to avoid that. So I'm going to go back to making Frakes, Jonathan Frakes, the new voice of Cyclops.
Really? I don't know. I feel like he's too old now.
So was Cyclops. This is 97.
It's the same year after the series ended, so it's like the next year, right? Because it ended in 96. So he didn't age 30 years between then and now. Like Frakes is in the 60s, I assume, isn't he?
Yeah,
late 60s.
You underestimate Frakes. Thanatos.
Yeah, I mean, I would love, honestly, when we talk about these nostalgia podcasts, I think a Gargoyles one would be interesting because I only watched that one sporadically as a kid as well, and I do have a lot of fond memories of it. So I think it'd be interesting to experience it all the way through again. And the way things are going, I know there's going to be another series of it.
It's coming
probably
back
in the next 10 or 20 years.
If there hasn't been one already, and it just
no, there hasn't, but I'm sure it's coming.
No?
All right. So do I give you the actor or a character that you got to give the voice for?
You got to give me an actor or a cartoon character.
Oh, that you have to plug into the X-Men world. It's not already in there.
Yep.
Tim Allen.
Oh wow, Buzz Lightyear himself. Allen. Tim Allen. I want to be careful with this one because this is going to be good. Actually, a character that we just... Here, I'll bring it up.
Is it Candy Southern?
It is. It's Candy Southern.
Of course.
No, I would make Tim Allen the voice of Orphan Maker. Just the one next to Nanny there.
The robot.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, he's not a robot. He's just a guy in a suit.
Right.
But yeah.
Interesting.
Orphan Maker. He's like Nanny. He sort of has like a childlike personality. At least did. Like maybe isn't as much as he lets on because Nanny's like this overbearing kind of motherly figure. Anyway, it's really interesting. She has like this like she's super driven. I don't like Nanny's a robot or something. or a mutant. I don't know. It must be a mutant. Some Krakoa. Anyway, Nanny's confusing, but super driven to protect children. And she, spoiler alert for Hellions, which I just recommended everyone go read. So maybe, I'm doing it anyway. It's been out for a while. She finds out Sinister experiments on children, and she just loses it. Like the color of her changes and everything, and she's just like this, like bright red, like rage bot. And she,
Cool.
She definitely she just like grabs him by the scruff and like threatens the crap out of him. It's just like pretty sweet. Anyway, really cool. Orphan Maker, and I'd have to find a good one for Nanny, but we'll do that as some other X casting. So for you,
choose wisely.
Okay, choose wisely.
Dead air is good for podcasts.
Dead air is quite good for podcasts.
It's the best thing you want on a podcast.
Welcome to the Dead Air podcast.
And then it's just dead air for an hour. Nothing. Man, you might be onto something.
This could fall asleep to.
This could be money. Just static. And then every once in a while, there's just like a noise in the background of like someone snoring or like a tea glass chinkling or something like.
All right, here's one for you. I mean, I hope he was never on it. He does a lot of voices, but I don't think he was. And that's oh my god, the name's escaping me. He played the voice of Surtur in the MCU.
Clancy Brown?
Yeah, Clancy Brown.
Oh god, he has a ton of voices. He's Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, but I don't think he was ever on the X-Men.
Wow, he's got some.
He was the voice of like all the Hulks in that Hulk show, that like Hulk Squad show.
Oh, the Agents of Smash or whatever, that one?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, he definitely is a character with some gravitas. He's got a deep voice, and certainly a commanding character. Somebody who would be like military. What is? That's on the cusp.
It's coming to him, people.
Who? Oh, I know. Joss Whedon's storyline. Who is the World Breaker guy? The alien, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Is it World Breaker? Was that his name? Break World. Or to the Break World. Or to the Break World.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's a good one.
He's a really cool character, and he has this deep voice, and that would be super cool.
Yeah. Oh, I dig it. Yeah, that's a good one. Good pull. Order the Break World would be a cool villain, actually, for an X-Men movie.
I agree.
Yeah, I like that run a lot.
I'm trying to forget who
It was one of my recommendations. All right, well, it's time for everyone's favorite.
Everyone in the world's favorite segment. The Mojo music returns.
Homework from Professors Andre.
We got a good change to the name for that. All right. Well, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to take a week off because we are not going to be here next week. We figured we'd use the excuse of ending a season to have a break week. I know we had one not so long ago. Order the Break World. I'm going to play, as I mentioned, and next week I'm on stage all week. I could theoretically do this when I got home late one night, but it'll be quite late, and it's going to be a stressful week anyway, so I'd rather just take the week off if possible. Which it is.
You wouldn't like Andre when he's stressed.
No, well, that's all the time. That's my secret, Devin. I'm always stressed.
Notice.
Yeah. So, so we're going to take a week off. But when we return in a fortnight, we will be diving headfirst, like somebody without a helmet on, in front of a plate glass window with Ludo and Overguard for their own safety.
Oh my.
We're going to be going into season 3 and watching the very first episode called Out of the Past, Part 1. So we start season 3 with another 2-parter. This one seemingly to focus on
Deathstrike.
Wolverine, Deathstrike, and the Morlocks again, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
So, so we get to see the return of those guys, bunch of New Mutants, and all that fun stuff. So, do that. Go watch that.
Ooh,
you have 2 weeks
I already
to watch
know what my fake name's going to be. So no more last-minute names for me, I tell you that much.
Is it Abraham Cornelius? He's in the episode. did I really just pull it out? I couldn't have.
It's Devraham Cornelius. No.
Oh my god, I can't believe I grabbed the one.
No, you didn't. That's not
okay.
It. But that's pretty
Damn it,
funny.
That was good.
You should be Andraham Cornelius.
Andraham Cornelius. I'll have to get out my smoking jacket, my monocle.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you tell us what's going on? Oh, you know what? I got one thing to talk about. Ex-goons, ex-fans, our beloved listeners. I'm setting up a Patreon for us. It's taking me a while because I find it super confusing. But I'm going to have our donation tiers very, very laden with goodies. I've noticed that once I get this all set up, I've noticed they have recommended donation tiers for different merch. Like, for example, if you wanted a t-shirt, they recommend that it's like a $25 a month donation, which just seems way too much for me.
So do you get a shirt every month? How does that work?
No, you get that shirt after 3 months.
Oh.
So like that seems too much for me. So but that's what they recommend. So I'm gonna lower all that. So basically, if you ever want to donate to the show, I'm gonna sprinkle in stickers, mugs, t-shirts, all at a lower rate than they suggest.
Do they provide that right out of there, or do we have to?
Yeah, they're gonna handle them. They can handle the merch for us.
They can get it printed and do all that.
Yeah, they can do all of that. Yeah,
awesome. Well, that's great. We can do. Yeah, we have some. Dev and I have talked a few things about a few ideas for what we're gonna do out there. And if that's the case, I can it's a matter of trying to get stuff done in order to get it created, and we have to worry about that. I can create a lot of fun stuff. So
yeah,
let's do that. Some
we got stickers,
X-rated
mugs,
the Animated Review Show,
bags, t-shirts, hoodies, long sleeve shirts. We can do all that stuff.
The X-Men Animated Review Show.
Get yourself a "This One's for You" Morph t-shirt.
I think we need to do
have a tier based around that
show trading cards. We could do the whole set will be 2 cards, just you and me.
But you don't mind taking a hit for our listeners, do you, Andre?
A hit? What do you mean?
Well, like Patreons have their suggested profit margins for tiers and stuff like that. I plan on going.
Oh no. Well, I mean, honestly, if we get enough money to cover the fee to do the show, that would be helpful. So you know, that'd be great.
I'll talk to you all about this later, but
you want to donate, then it's a great idea. We're glad you have fans out there. No pressure. If you enjoy the show and you just want to listen, you have no money, or don't worry about it. Keep enjoying the show. But if you want to support us, that would be great too. So.
And it's up there already. It's patreon.com/X-Men Review Show. So you can go ahead and make your one-time donations. But I wouldn't jump onto any of those tiers yet. They're there, but I'm still working on them.
Yeah, we'll design some cool stuff up for them and have some neat stuff.
And the week off, I'll probably get that all figured out.
Well, I can throw some design. We'll talk about it over chat, and we'll get some stuff set up. The stickers and stuff should be there now.
Yeah. Stickers and some merch for the fans shop.
Another shop.
What's going on with the Graphic Histories podcast?
Well, new episode drops this Saturday, in which I speak with John Roy. I think I mentioned it last week, but it is for certain. We recorded it last week. All good to go. It's all ready. It's all set up. It's just going to drop on Saturday. Really fun talk. John does a lot of work lately, recording people at Comic Cons, like in their costumes, and making these con videos where you see all the people in cosplaying. And we have a fun conversation with John's life, about comics, about Geeks versus Nerds, which I did for years with him, which is a show that he created. It's an online stage show. It was kind of like The Debaters, but about nerdy. I
have a show I ripped off The Debaters for too.
Yeah, so it was really. I used to do it quite a bit as the on-stage show. It was really fun. But yeah, we get into that. John's been a good friend for many years, and we talk about cosplaying, and he kind of. I won't say what it was, but he phrases. I've never really understood cosplay. Like, I get it. I just never really it's never something that appealed to me in any way. And he frames it in a way that I've never thought of before. That was kind of enlightening. So that was very interesting. We had a great talk. So I really enjoyed it. It was a really good time. And working on a few people. I know for certain I have lined up, not for next episode, but the episode after, Jim Rugg, who is a comic guy. Does a lot of really cool stuff, most lately with Marvel's Hulk by Design comics, which are really interesting and fun and different. And that's going to be really fun too. So once I talk to him, that'll be up as well. Maybe I should get a Patreon. That's a good idea.
Why not? Book Yours or Trek, my other podcast. I'll probably take the week off the show to put an episode of that up too. Why not?
Do you just do that sporadically?
These days, yeah. It was never on a schedule as much as I tried to put it on one. So it's just when our listeners just bless them, like for putting up with our erratic schedule.
Bless them.
Yeah,
Lord love them.
Lord love them.
Lord love them.
Yeah. But yeah, comedy of Star Trek probably be the next one, and probably a Class L probe. So we dive deeper into the topics we do on the Debate 9 debate show that I also basically stole from the debaters. And my cousin has a debate show. Trivial Debates.
One second.
Andre's running. I'm going to keep plugging stuff because I don't know what the 1 second was about. Did he want me to put dead air on here or something? I don't know. Anyway, keep talking. Live Long the Podcast, Super Mater Brothers. Check those things out as well.
I think something I said triggered my Alexa. Just start playing like loud rap music.
Oh, interesting. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, sorry. I just my wife might be sleeping, so I didn't want to have that blaring through the house.
Yeah, that's a very
it's a very good
and empathetic stance you took there.
Well, I just don't want her to yell at me. That's all.
Oh, dude, self-serving in the end. Yeah, never mind. I take back.
I'll let you in on a little secret. Everybody does this.
Oh no, I don't believe it. We'll discuss that another day.
Okay, I'm sure we'll get to the root of humanity's inner workings in a future episode. Not our listeners, of course. They're lovely and they're all wonderful human beings.
They certainly are. And they can contact us at xmenreviewshow@gmail.com or just message me on Facebook. It's just the most
drop us a line
if you want to talk to us.
You have any questions or suggestions for the show? We're always welcome to hear it.
Yeah, you can check us out on Facebook /X-Men Review Show. We're on Twitch, I think. I don't know. And on YouTube, definitely. I don't know how this works. I just launched it and I never go back there. But if any listener could tell us if we're on Twitch, I'd love to know. You can find the audio-only version of X-Rated, the X-Men Animated Review Show, wherever you get your podcast. I'm certain of it. And if you enjoy,
like, rate, subscribe, all that stuff.
Like, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave us a message. Go to our Patreon, get some merch once that's all figured out. It's going to be good merch designed by Chandre the He-Devil, known Nova Scotian kitsch artist.
We should actually do sometime when I have time. It's gonna be like a million years from now, but we should I should draw us in the X-Men style.
Oh, you definitely should. I'm surprised you haven't done that already.
I just don't have time. I don't have the light. Listen, if any of the listeners
do it for fun.
House, if any of I don't even have time to do that. If any of the listeners want to come to my house and help me put away my wood, then I can get this done a lot faster. So we can do that. Just show up my house.
We'll just copy and paste when friend of the show David Cutler draws us into an X-Men comic.
That would be. You think you'll ever do that?
Onto a logo. What? Well, I'm just going to keep. I think he'll do that before we get any MeUndies money. So I might as well.
Well, that's true.
I'm gonna plug what I think has a better chance of happening.
All right.
That's my theory. So
that's a good idea. Well, we can also plug the StreamYard.
Oh,
we still have that.
You know what?
Yeah.
No, it's not StreamYard, which is good. It's Buzzsprout that we actually plug.
Buzzsprout.
Yeah. Buzzsprout is what podcast hosts we use to.
Oh, I thought it was StreamYard. Okay.
StreamYard is what we're doing right now.
Okay.
But
Buzzsprout's
but StreamYard's not going to give us any money. Buzzsprout, if you want to launch an audio podcast, you can do it with Buzzsprout.
I have totally misunderstood what we've been promoting for an entire season. Amazing. Indeed. I'm sorry, Buzzsprout.
So the reason our podcast can be heard wherever you get your podcasts is because of Buzzsprout, and they do it. They send it everywhere, and
it's super convenient.
Other great features, good awesome customer service. Actually,
believe me, as a guy who does my own podcast like guerrilla style, with just through a Squarespace site, and it's so much simpler from what he's described to get your stuff out there and get in all the platforms.
And they have ways to market and monetize your podcast as well.
Yeah. It's really cool. So yeah, definitely check them out. But if you do so, what do they have to put in so that we get some of that sweet cheese?
Oh, I will have a link at the bottom. You can click on that if you'd like to start your own podcast, and after a couple months, they will send you a $20 Amazon gift card, which is basically what those couple months will cost you anyway. So, you know what? Try your hand at a podcast. Pick something you like we did here. Talk about it. People might want to listen. Especially if you have the wit and beauty and strength of Andre here.
I think maybe one of those things is accurate.
You need a shower.
Oh, whoop.
You can smell me from there?
Yeah, you betcha. All right. Anything else, Andre?
No. Go read comics. Go have fun. Enjoy the summer. Watch a Werner Herzog movie. You'll be better because of it.
Or his cameo in the Boondocks, which is
maybe not Grizzly Man. That one's pretty depressing, but watch some of the others.
Yeah, not Grizzly Man.
His documentaries are amazing, but his movies are great too. Aguirre, The Wrath of God, Nosferatu, My Best Fiend. All those are great. Actually, one that's a newer one that I highly suggest is the.
This is more homework from Professor Andre.
No. I'm just saying one. If you're gonna watch a Werner Herzog movie, there's one called Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans, starring Nicolas Cage, in which he plays a detective in Louisiana, after the hurricane. Is it Katrina, the one that wiped out? Yeah. So after Katrina, and he's addicted to painkillers because he injured his back, and it's a really interesting story, and it's really well done. And Nicolas Cage, I used to really dislike until I really restructured how I think about him, because he just fully commits to any role he's in, even if it's terrible script. He fully commits, and
I'm a fan.
I am too, actually.
And this Herzog Cage joint sounds interesting.
The movie Mandy won me over from a couple of years ago, but I really want to watch the new one he did, Pig, which is on Amazon Prime. But
I want to watch that one about his own career.
Oh yeah, the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I think it's called. Yeah. I do want to see that as well. So go watch all that stuff. All good. Just enlighten yourself. Enjoy the summer.
Hey. That it?
That's it.
Catch you next time.
Goodbye, my friend.
A 1, 2, 3.